Good evening. My name is Michelle Bastier, and this will be my second year running with Team Momentum. And I'd like to share a little of my story with you, as well as our experience with the local MDA, as well as Team Momentum. My son David was diagnosed with Duchenne muscular dystrophy in early 2011 when he was 19 months old. Our family was living in Orlando at the time when we were referred to a neurologist because David hadn't met some of his milestones at his 18-month checkup. The doctors at the time were hinting towards an autism diagnosis due to his developmental delays. David didn't walk until he was 17 months old and was almost nonverbal until he was about 3. That's obviously changed a little bit. The neurologist called for blood work, calling it a routine procedure. We went home wondering if our son had autism. There wasn't much time to dwell, however, because we were busy packing. My husband Dave had just been promoted at work and was taking a new position in Fort Worth, Texas. I want to tell you, Texans, that I was happy to move here. I want to. But the truth is, we had family in Florida and we had family in Pennsylvania. Texas was not part of the plan. But we were set to leave, and 2 days before the moving truck showed up, the neurologist called. We sat in his office while he explained how long he thought David would be able to walk and talked about life expectancy with the Duchenne diagnosis. He basically told us to go home, accept what is, love our boy as long as we had him. At that time, there were no treatments, no therapies, no hope for Duchenne. And then with heavy hearts, we moved 1,100 miles away from our friends and family to where we didn't know a soul and began to call this place home. The neurologist gave me a wonderful bit of advice. He told me under no circumstances was I to Google this disease. I was told to visit the MDA website where I could find factual information about progression and an introduction to the support group and network that the MDA provided. That bit of advice was a game changer. Over the past 5 years of being involved with the MDA, I've had the amazing opportunities to share our story, spread awareness, and raise funds to fight muscle disease. I've had the fortune to speak on the show of strength and starting on the muscle walk. Dave and I have helped launch support groups in the area. We've shared our story with firefighters across the Metroplex for field food campaigns, and I've had the chance to sit on council with local healthcare providers to ensure and increase the standard of care for those in our area living with neuromuscular disease. Without the MDA, I never would have had the opportunity to reach other families and offer not only my support, but the support, the resources, and the services that the MDA provides to its families. And then 2 years ago, I was introduced to Team Momentum. I was presented an opportunity to do something that was, well, kind of crazy. I'd never run more than a 5K my entire life, and that had been years prior. I was approaching my 30th birthday. I had just given birth to my 3rd child, and I was contemplating running a marathon. People kept asking me, but do you know how far that is? I trained for 6 months and can honestly say that my Team Momentum teammates and coach are the reason why I ended up making it across that finish line. I was the most inexperienced runner of the group, and more than once I had thought I had gotten in over my head a little bit. But from the very first group run, when I got tired and wanted to fall behind, my coach had me lead the pack at my own pace, which was the one thing that got me through running the longest length of in my entire life up until that point, which was 4 miles. My teammates showed me that if it was going to take a village to get me ready for race day, then they were all on board. My teammates all took turns running by my side, running much slower than they were used to. Running when they were sore and tired from other races, talking me through cramps and fatigue, just to get me through every hard mile. All of this was led by a coach who refused to leave me behind, who celebrated every victory, no matter how small it seemed, and taught me the value of that ritual. I had no idea how seamlessly all of my teammates would transform into my friends. Fundraising, training for, and completing the marathon last year was one of the most inspirational and fulfilling experiences of my entire life. And I am eternally grateful to the MDA and Team Momentum for that experience. This year has been a completely different experience than that first year. And now that I've had a little bit of time to think about it, I'm pretty sure that last year was amazing for a reason. Because if it wasn't as remarkable, unforgettable, and life-changing as it was, I most likely wouldn't be here speaking to all of you or running tomorrow. After running the marathon last year in just under 6 hours, my goal this year was to shave an hour off my marathon time. I declared this to Dave less than 24 hours after finishing the marathon last year, at which point I still couldn't walk correctly yet. I was eager to start training, but I had a few things to take care of first. This past year, Dave and I embarked upon the journey of expanding our family with the hopes of having a healthy boy, free from Duchenne. We began the IVF process in the spring, so I was under strict orders not to run. I figured the beginning of my training would be postponed a little bit, no big deal. As it turns out, the IVF process is a lot more physically, financially, and emotionally taxing than either Dave and I had anticipated. My training was continuously postponed because I was unable to run. During this process, this summer we got the news that we had waited 5 years for, and that Dave was being transferred to Pennsylvania. And we were going to the coast of England once again. Our hopes were high as we packed up our family this time and made a 1,500-mile trek across the country to our new home in Pennsylvania, nestled close to friends. A few weeks later, Dave and I excitedly flew back to Texas to hopefully get pregnant. Yet we were met with the news that we did not have a single viable male embryo. There was one perfectly healthy little girl. My embryo transfer was successful, and I carried her for 7 weeks before God brought her back home again.
7 weeks.
Needless to say, I forgot about training. That's not to say that I didn't remember that I was supposed to be training, but I gave up on the possibility of making this race happen this year. I'm sure we've all had a running injury that's been too much. You want to go on, but the pain just won't let you bear weight, and you don't think you can continue. The ache in my heart was just too much, and I didn't think I had it in me to be a part of Team Momentum this year. It was while I was in this state that our endurance manager, Abby Sidebottom, gave me a call out of the blue. She was calling to check in on me and getting me geared up for the upcoming fundraising campaign season. Talking to anyone at that time was the last thing I wanted to do. But I let her remind me of the amazing experience it was to run with Team Momentum last year. As she cheerily talked about all of the new and exciting things happening this year, I reminisced about the impact our team made last year, the donations of so many friends and family and supporters, and the way it felt to cross that finish line. Abby, I'm sure you didn't know her at the time. And I'm positive that's not how I felt about it, but you gave me the light at the end of my dark tunnel. I don't know how this year would have turned out without your phone call, so I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you. Please don't ever stop thinking about people. When heavy things in life come crashing down on us, the weight of what we're carrying can sometimes take us to a dark place that's difficult to come out of. Each person needs something different to begin the path to healing. And what I needed was for someone to remind me of my purpose. That none of us know how long we have, and so we need to make every moment count. I decided to get back on the running and fundraising wagon and hope that putting my feet to the pavement once again would put some of the pieces of my heart back together. Besides, David was still here, and he needed me to keep fighting, just like the thousands of other boys just like David, who need us all to keep up the fight. So Abby and I began talking about starting a relay team because I hadn't been able to train for so long and I was getting to see the relay. So I threw the idea out on social media. In the blink of an eye, we had formed one relay team and started another. And because she's a beast, one of my besties is running a half marathon for David as well. To everyone on Team David, there are no words to tell you how much I love you. How proud I am for all that you've accomplished so far, and how humbled I am by the love that you have shown me, my family, and especially for my team. Just as my Team Momentum teammates got me to the finish line last year, it is all of you who have gotten me here today. You've shown us with your love and devotion that no amount of space can separate you from me. Thank you everyone here tonight, but also to everyone who's a part of the MDA and the Team Momentum everywhere. We are all a part of a remarkable movement to bring profound change to the lives of those living with muscle disease. There has been more medical advancement to treat muscular dystrophy in the past 5 years than there have been in the past 50. When David was diagnosed, we were told that there was no hope. And now treatments for Duchenne can be readily available for hundreds of thousands of Duchenne patients within the next year. While we rejoice because a treatment for David's genetic mutation is the next on the docket for clinical trials, I know that for much of the MD patients, that's not the case. We are all still in this race. We haven't won yet. To everyone affected by muscle disease and to those who are part of the MDA and Team Momentum, you are here because you are a champion for someone that you love. I commend you all for fighting back against this disease and showing those affected that we are all in this together. We can't choose our fate. We can't choose how long we have to stay. But we can choose how we spend our time here. I think if we choose to inspire and encourage others, if we fight as long as we can, and be courageous when called upon, even if in the end we lose the battle, the war will eventually be won. We all end up in the same place. But life is all about the journey.